In my previous report, I mentioned the skirmish between American destroyers and Iranian forces in the Strait of Hormuz. Today, we'll return to this topic again. The events unfolded on Thursday, May 7th. 3 U.S. destroyers were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. This wasn't the first clash in a week. Earlier, on Monday, 2 of these ships had come under fire from Iran while transiting the same route. They managed to withstand the attack. However, on Thursday, the situation repeated itself in a much more aggressive manner. According to U.S. command, Iranian forces launched a coordinated attack, simultaneously deploying multiple weapons from various directions. The U.S. president described the retaliatory strike against Iranian positions as a light pat. However, the subsequent 48 hours revealed the true scale of the consequences, which speaks volumes for any official speeches. Data from maritime monitoring systems confirms that not a single merchant vessel has passed through the Strait of Hormuz for 2 days. Not a single one. These aren't just empty words, but a technical fact, recorded automatically by the identification signals of each vessel. Complete silence has descended on one of the world's most vital maritime hubs. Ship owners are changing routes, trying to stay away from the dangerous region. Global positioning signals are being jammed in the strait, making navigation extremely risky. The rules of passage have become murky. It's unclear who to pay, where to obtain permits, and which corridor is safe. The entire logistics system, which had been fine-tuned for years, has gone into standby mode. What happened on Thursday isn't a local conflict, but a systemic crisis in the world's main transport artery. Today, we will examine the reasons for this lull in detail. The analysis will be detailed, as without it, it is impossible to grasp the essence of the changes. First, let's look at Thursday's strike itself. 8 cruise missiles and 24 kamikaze drones. It was a carefully planned operation to overload the air defense systems. Iran demonstrated a deep understanding of the operation of American defense systems and precise coordination of units. From an analytical perspective, there is an important nuance here. 8 cruise missiles are a formidable force, capable of sinking a warship. However, the bulk of the strike was made up of drones. According to reliable reports, Tehran deliberately limited the potential damage. The goal was not to destroy the destroyers, but to demonstrate their vulnerability. This is an act of deterrence, not all-out war. Iran has demonstrated that it can strike at any time, but for now, it is choosing the path of preemption. The Iranian side is pursuing a strategy of managed escalation. Since the end of February, when the clashes began, Iranian casualties have amounted to approximately 3,400 people. Meanwhile, retaliatory strikes on Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia have resulted in only about 20 deaths. This 170-fold difference confirms that Iran is targeting infrastructure, radars, terminals, command posts, and storage facilities, in a deliberate attempt to avoid causing mass casualties. Let's recall the case of the South Pars field. After the coalition strike, Iran responded with an attack on a Qatari field in the same geological basin. The damage was colossal. Afterward, the U.S. president publicly stated that he was unaware of the planned attack and that Netanyahu would not do so again. This is a classic example of deterrence through a painful, targeted strike. Washington has learned this lesson. Therefore, Thursday's attack should be taken as a clear message. We can destroy your fleet, but for now, we are exercising restraint. Now, regarding the failure of the operation dubbed Project Freedom, Western media have put forward various theories, ranging from requests from Pakistan to technical glitches. However, the true reason lies elsewhere. Saudi Arabia officially denied Washington access to its airspace. Prince Mohammed bin Salman personally informed the U.S. president of this in a telephone conversation. Following Riyadh, Kuwait made a similar decision. Without these air corridors, American and Israeli aircraft are physically unable to reach the operational zone over Hormuz. The alternative route through Iraq is closed, as local groups perceive U.S. forces as occupiers and open fire on aircraft. Ultimately, the operation was halted not because of Iran's actions, but because Washington's allies refused to participate in the conflict. This demonstrates a new balance of power. The Gulf monarchies considered the cost of war with Iran greater than the risk of the U.S. refusing to participate. When the operation failed, the U.S. Secretary of State resorted to subterfuge. He declared the Epic Fury mission complete and immediately launched Project Freedom. This is a legal ploy related to the War Powers Act. To avoid requiring congressional approval after 60 days, the administration simply resets the counter by renaming the operation. There's a clear parallel here with the Gulf of Tonkin in 1964. That dubious incident became the pretext for entering the Vietnam War. A similar pattern is now being developed. Any attempt by Iran to defend its sovereignty will be portrayed as aggression, justifying a new round of conflict under a new name. Let's move on to economics, which completely refutes Western arguments. The American blockade was intended to cut off Iranian oil exports and force the country to capitulate. But geography proved stronger than theory. Iran has 3 invulnerable bypass routes. The first is the Caspian Sea. Oil is loaded at ports, travels north, enters Russian pipelines, and then on to China. This route can only be blocked by sinking Russian ships, which would mean a direct war with Moscow. The Pentagon won't agree to that. The second route is a railway through Pakistan to China. Tanker trains travel deep into Iranian territory, beyond the reach of aircraft and Tomahawk missiles. The Vietnam experience has shown that railways are restored faster than they can be destroyed. A third route is private convoys of trucks carrying barrels of oil heading to the Pakistani border. Stopping thousands of small shippers is physically impossible. It's impossible to bomb every vehicle on the road. As a result, according to analysts at major American media outlets, Iran is now earning almost twice as much on oil as before the war. Supply volumes have declined, but the real market price per barrel has risen from $60 to $150, and sometimes even to $200. The blockade has effectively strengthened the Iranian economy, something Washington refuses to publicly acknowledge. An important outcome was the Iranian foreign minister's diplomatic visits to Russia, China, Oman, and Pakistan. A common formula was voiced in St. Petersburg and Beijing: the security architecture of the Persian Gulf. This is a signal of coordinated work between Moscow and Beijing on a new order in the region. According to intelligence reports, Saudi Arabia and Qatar are discussing the withdrawal or reduction of the American military presence. The Fifth Fleet in Bahrain and the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar are in question. The reason is simple. American Patriot systems failed to intercept Iranian missiles and drones, and the radars at the bases were disabled. The promised protection proved ineffective. Meanwhile, Russian S-400 and S-500 systems have proven their power in real combat. Countries in the region are seeing this and are seeking alternatives. Furthermore, a withdrawal of assets from Western financial institutions has begun. Gulf monarchies are shifting capital from American bonds to physical gold and silver. They have gone from being the main buyers of American debt to its sellers. This is a tectonic shift that is undermining the Western financial system, which has been sustained by these resources for decades. The situation in the Strait of Hormuz has become a catalyst for global changes, the scale of which is only just beginning to unfold.